Good evening, Greg here, burning both ends, burning on the back end of Wednesday. It is July 11th, 2018, 11:28 p.m. Pacific. I am out of bubbly water for now. I gotta head back to Bed Bath & Beyond and get some new canisters. I have that SodaStream bubbler carbonator, if you will. I love that thing. Actually, I have two of them. I have one at the office and I have one here at home, and I'm just out of CO2. So, but still, just the lemon water is still just fantastic, nice and refreshing. But let's get into it. So iCore is just rocking and rolling. Today we had our 2-hour webinar. So iCore, just to remind you, is this tech transfer training that I'm in, DOE funded. Very proud of our federal government for getting involved in this program. And what I'm learning as I speak to more people, especially within DOE, like iCore, doing iCore, it's almost like a very special thing to do. And when you mention it, people, oh, you're an iCore. Oh, it's almost like wearing a very special badge. And so I feel very honored to be in the program. And it's a lot of work. It's really like being in a startup. I have to say, it really gives you a sense, or it gives me a sense, I should say. It gives me a sense of what it's really like if we were to jump off the edge and start a company. And just like the infinite number of things to do. It's rather incredible. And so today we had our webinar, and we had to give 5-minute presentations on our revenue streams. And I have to admit, I'm still, and I don't know if I'm going to even fix this. I'm just being completely honest about this. I'm still just not very comfortable in these presentations. I'm not preparing enough. I've given many presentations in my career, and most of the time I write the presentations. I spend a good amount of time on the slides, on the deck, and I spend a good amount of time practicing. And it's kind of like the way my mind works is as I'm writing the slides, like that process ingrains it in my head, and therefore when I'm talking about them, it's very easy. Whereas with these presentations, I am not personally putting them all together. I find that I'm really looking to my team to help, and also I'm totally owning this. I am choosing not to put as much time in these presentations in this prep as I should be. I find that other things have higher priority, and the presentations are a lower priority. I just think that talking to customers and getting out there and getting the market data is just paramount in this program. And so I find that that's where I'm really focusing my efforts in because it's a lot of work to fill the pipeline for the interviews, send out the communications, do the follow-ups, and then execute the interviews, and then document the interviews, and pull the pieces out and find out where we're going next. And I just find that I don't have idle time to spend with these presentations. I think one of the strange things about them is that it's and this has happened many times, and I'm curious about it, and other people have noticed it too. And this is simply an observation. This is not at all a complaint. It's just I noticed that so the way these webinars go is they start the webinar, and we get right into these presentations, and there are 8 teams. I want to say, yeah. One team dropped out, so there are 8 teams, and we just get right into the presentations. If we're doing 10-minute presentations, that takes the full hour, and we just go 10 minutes and then 3 minutes of feedback, and then 10 minutes and 3 minutes of feedback. So it rolls right in. Today they were 5-minute presentations with 3 minutes of feedback, and we just got right into them. And just before we start their presentations, the instructors give guidance on what we should present on. I mean, now we have a high level understanding beforehand, but I find that the guidance is rather loose, and it's probably intentional that way, and I'm fine with that. But then it's right before we get some real directed direction on this, directed direction. We get some real directed feedback on what should be in it, or what specific questions we're looking to answer. And my industry mentor and I were talking today, and we're like, it would be great to get those ahead of time. And maybe I should ask about that ahead of time. Now, the last presentation is a lot like the others. This revenue stream one was rather unique, but something that I'm realizing is that I am choosing not to spend as much time on these presentations as I probably should be. And because of that, my presentations are certainly weak. And I am owning that. I am going the Gary Vee route. I am taking full blame. That is all on my shoulders. On the one side, I'm trying to delegate some of the work to my other team members. But on the other side, I know in the back of my mind, if I don't write the slides and I don't create them, then I'm not going to really own that material. And and unless I spend significant time with them, it's going to be a bit of a, it's not like that it's a weak presentation as in like the content's not good. It's just not smooth. It's not, it doesn't have, there's the phone there distracting me. It doesn't have a nice flow to it. So it might be a little bit choppy. I might not have a very articulate way to say some of the slides. I might have to read some of them, which is kind of a no-no, right? The whole point of the slides is that it corroborates what I'm saying. It's not what I am saying, right? It complements my rhetoric, if you will. And so and I don't know if rhetoric is the right word there. I should look that up. I know about what that means, and that's how I am with where I'm an engineer. Give me a break. So anyway, with my oral presentation, if you will. So, but it's supposed to complement what I'm saying. I'm not supposed to read the slides, right? The slides are not supposed to be all wordy. They're supposed to be short, bulleted, essentially phrases or fragments. And but I'm certainly owning it. And it's completely my fault that I'm not spending enough time with the slides if someone else makes them, or spending enough time creating the slides. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to fix this. Part of me thinks it's more important still, even now, even though this has happened twice now, and I've noted it twice. For some reason, and not for some reason, I'm choosing not to fix it. That's all I could say. I'm owning it. I am owning this kind of weak point in my iCore, and I'm on the fence now if I should make a commitment around owning this last presentation, because the last one's really going to have everything in it. Actually, I think I have the slide guide right here. Let's see. Right, so they give us this nice slide guide here. Last presentation is the 18th. Yeah, it's pretty much, it's a repeat of a couple other presentations. Now repeat meaning like the same structure, but obviously new content or updated content, really. But it's a similar structure. So you know what? I'm going to make a commitment to just completely crush this presentation. There we go. That's the only way to go, right? Because as I'm saying this out loud, I'm realizing how weak it sounds, and so I'm so glad that I'm doing these posts, because this really helps me out. I say, even though I'm not really talking to anyone, I'm talking to a camera, and if you look at my views right now, not exactly stellar, but that's not what's important here. What's important here is that I'm doing these posts. I'm addressing these things. I'm doing my best to hit the things that I'm really trying to work on. Right? It's not all just wonderful things and optimism. Even though I am a very optimistic person, I do want to hit the struggles I'm having, and I'm definitely struggling with these presentations. And the only way through this is not to say, "Oh, I'm not going to fix it for next week." The only way is to go, I'm going to up my game, and I'm going to crush next week. Done. So the next step would be to put in place a plan, right? To begin working on this right away, right? So tomorrow I will make a commitment that I will hit the presentation tomorrow for at least a half an hour. I don't gotta go nuts. I don't gotta spend 4 hours tomorrow doing it, but I will commit to a half an hour tomorrow, and we'll see where that gets me. That's not gonna get me very far. We have this is, let's see, 8 or 9 slides. It's not a real big deal. It's a 10-minute presentation. The cover slide's essentially done already, and so, but this is this is my commitment. So I will crush the last presentation, and this is actually not the last one. This is the last webinar presentation, and then when we're in Denver, we have a bunch more to give. So there will be more, but this is the last webinar presentation. It's a whole different ball game being in front of everyone, being kind of in the auditorium or the conference center. It's a whole different kind of thing. So I think that's the only way to go. So therefore, when you hear this post, so the evening post of next Wednesday, and so that's July 18th, I will report back on how I crushed this presentation. So there you go, end of that one. Other than that, we're rocking and rolling. The pipeline is getting filled. Actually, I'm converting a lot of interviews right now. I'm finding that patience with LinkedIn is really paying off. There are a bunch of folks on LinkedIn that I reached out to that it takes a week for them to receive my connection. And what's funny is, in my connection, right? So I type that little note and I request, some time, and I try to summarize what we're doing as best as I can. And what's interesting is that someone will accept the connection, but then they won't respond to my request as far as, hey, I'd like to chat with you for a little bit. And so then I gotta wait a few days because maybe they will, and they gotta just check their calendar, because it's amazing how, to watch how this works and how different people do different things. There are some folks, they accept the connection, and a minute later, I've got a direct message and we're already in a conversation about meeting. And something that I've been really good about is once I see someone ping me, I get right back to them. I'm just like right on top of it. I find that really benefits the communication and the effectiveness of the communication. I don't find value in seeing a notification and then waiting some arbitrary amount of time, because you know what? In that arbitrary time, that's a great time to forget what I saw, right? Especially if I look at it and it kind of gets rid of the notification, so I don't see that little number, by the LinkedIn icon or whatever. So yeah, we're filling the pipeline. It's going well. We got a few interviews, the rest of the week. Lining up a bunch for next week, just before tonight's post. I did go through the success journal, so I talked about cleaning things up today. I talked about how I was getting sloppy, and so I definitely did a lot of house cleaning today. And so what I did with the innovation within was I uploaded I had forgotten that there's a place to type in the notes, but then there's also a place to upload the audios. And what we have is a bunch of 2 and 3 and 4 minute audio recaps of these interviews, for each one. And so I uploaded all those. There is a transcription feature. I tried that. I'm going to see how that works. Excuse me. And see how that works. I heard it doesn't work very well, but I haven't tried it myself. So I tried it on one of our longer interviews today. So I'll check it out tomorrow. But these little 4 minute and 3 minute recaps are great. And so I put all those in there. And then what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to listen to those, right? Because I needed a complete tally of our interviews today. And so we're at 65 today. Actually 66 because we had one after the webinar. And so what I'm going to do is listen to those recaps, type up the recaps, and then that will complete my documentation. And then I'm also going to scan in my handwritten notes, so that way I have those available if I need them. Because the whole point of the recap is to pull out the important details, right? Because obviously not everything I took notes on or everything that was spoken in one of these interviews is critical. And so I definitely got a lot of ducks in a row today before the webinar with regard to innovation within. And then tonight, I knocked off a bunch of follow-ups that I needed to do, and I went through the success journal. If you look at it, you'll notice that it's now very nicely laid out. Well, it was nicely laid out, but I went through every task. You'll notice I changed task. Well, it might be hard to notice because it's a Google Sheet, so you're not really going to be able to see what I changed. But anyway, you'll just trust me, right? I updated that significantly, and then banged out a bunch of really critical follow-ups. So the goal is, we got to hit let's see how many interviews. I don't have my schedule up, but we're at 66 now. We have one tomorrow, and then I'm heading to an event Friday afternoon. I don't know how many interviews I'll get from that, at least 2 or 3. So we'll be close to 70 by the end of the week. And and we just scheduled another one. So yeah, we will be very close to 70 by the end of the week. So we got at least 5 to knock out next week. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of those trickle in to being in Denver. That typically happens, just because you don't want to say no to people that you've spent time trying to get an interview with. So excited for that. And I'm just loving this success journal. It's really working well. It's linked down below. I mean, you can check it out, how I've been using it. I think it's pretty obvious, once even if you were just to check it out right now and you kind of glance through all the weeks. So we started, let's see, the first week was, I will tell you, the first week was the week of June 10th. So this was the week that we got back from Denver. So the first kind of official week of customer discovery interview intensity. And so we got, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in the 5th week, which makes sense because it's the 6th week of iCore. So the 5th week of these customer discovery interviews. And I'm really enjoying the way that this has helped me out. So, and so I'm going to keep using this after iCore. I'm going to use this because after iCore, I'm really going to get into, I got 2 major things starting up after iCore. I got these projects at work, these $10 million projects that I'm going to be managing. And then I got my nonprofit widget, side hustle that I'll be rocking and rolling with. And so those 2 are going to be extremely demanding. And it's interesting because the one at work just itself is going to be demanding on me. And the nonprofit widget, I'm going to be demanding on it. Because I really see that as a tremendous opportunity, and I really want to push in that hard because I see that as a way to really improve my financial situation, and in the process kind of really fulfill a lot of these other things that I've been looking to do. And actually it's going to work the other way around. I'm going to fulfill these things I've been looking to do, be of service, really leverage my iCore experience and customer discovery and reaching out to people and connecting with people and talking with people and learning about the market, and just kind of selling this widget. And it's going to be a very soft sell. It's going to be like ridiculously soft sell. And I'm psyched to get training from Peter. And then as a result of all that and me pushing on that really hard, a financial win is going to come. So it's I'm really excited about that because it's just this is the thing that I've realized, like, I'm not the idea guy, I'm the execution person, I'm the execution guy. And so with the nonprofit widget, I can get into execution. That's why I'm so excited that Peter's going to train me, because that's going to enable that, and that's really going to help me financially. That's really gonna now this is like an infinite game financially help. This is not like in 60 days all this money's gonna, no, it's gonna be like head down for like 6, 8, 12 months, and then we'll start seeing some things trickle in. But then it's gonna snowball and build, right? So it's that style. This is not a get rich quick scheme whatsoever. This is a slow burn, a slow build, but a nice steady climb, and I'm excited to see that. And it's also, there's going to be a lot of residual profit coming in on this. This is going to be like, because once I lock in a nonprofit that uses the widget, then I get royalties. So it's going to be that kind of a slow build. And so I'm very excited about that. I've never had a real experience like that before. I've always been salaried, which is a whole different ball game. Well, I should say, except in my startups, of course, that was all results based. But a lot of that was hourly, so that's even worse, right? That's a lot like salary. But so I'm really excited for that. Really excited for project managing these big projects at work. It's really going to push me really hard in a very exciting direction, and if I do it right, it's going to make iCore look easy. And where I am right now, iCore is like an order of magnitude more difficult than the other work I'm doing at work. And my goal is to like just push myself so that the nonprofit widget work, the side hustle, and these projects at work make iCore look kind of simple or straightforward or whatever, easy. So that's where I want to get. I want to just keep kind of pushing myself and elevating my game and getting better and better. And that's where I'm going. And so that's why, it's so important. I'll circle back to the presentation. That's why it's so important that I crush this last presentation. It's like symbolic now. So cool. I'm glad that I talked through that. A very valuable 20 minutes I've just spent here. So, all right. And I will wrap there. And so this channel is all about my journey as an aspiring entrepreneur, the things I'm doing, the things I'm like self-inspecting, self-auditing, to keep improving my game, and this is just my story. This is how I'm doing it, how I'm moving through the process, and I'm really enjoying the process. I have to admit, getting up, these early days are definitely wearing, but at the same time, I'm listening to these motivational videos again. It's just rocking and rolling, and I have to admit, at no point in the day am I like, wow, I wish I didn't wake up at like 5:30 this morning. Like that thought never crosses my mind. My body doesn't feel tired. I mean, of course, there are some ups and downs during the day where I feel a little bit tired and then not so tired. But it's interesting. The only time that I regret getting up so early is in that like first 10 minutes between alarm clock and the first sip of my keto coffee. That's the only time I'm like, oh, maybe I should sleep more. It's interesting. It's fascinating the way the mind works. So I just got to hold off for 10 minutes and I'm good. So, and I don't know if that will ever go away. That's it. I'm just thinking about that right now. I don't know if that will ever go away, but who cares? Because it's all about execution. It's all about putting the time in. It's all about the hustle, and that's what I want to be doing. So, because when I look back at this time, like 40 years from now, I'm gonna have no regrets. I'm not gonna say, I should have. I'm erasing that, those kinds of things. I'm getting rid of those, and it's uncomfortable, but I know when I'm 80, I'm gonna be so psyched I did this, and so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And so check out the description. There are some good links down there for some motivational videos and sites, things that I've really been into that really got me going this year. There's some great music down there. There's ends down there. You'll find the Success Journal link down there, some old posts about the Success Journal. And then you'll find the beat in the background, Fela Kuti inspired, Tony Allen inspired. It's an Afro beat. I wrote it. G Money is my alter ego. I write these beats. Check it out on SoundCloud if you like that kind of thing. And I will leave it there. So get some rest. I certainly plan on it. Wake up tomorrow, light it up. Inspire folks, do great things, pound your fist, push yourself, challenge yourself, make a commitment, and I will see you in the morning.